This is my life with albinism.
Now, this is my life with albinism.
And this is my life with albinism.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Life with Albinism podcast. I'm your host Dale,
Avery.
and we have a special guest today. I've been Facebook friends, Instagram friends with this man for a while. I followed his stuff. We got Gavin in the building. Introduce yourself.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Gavin. It doesn't matter. You can call me whatever you want to. I am here all the way from Charlotte. Look, this is a long time coming because we were talking about this, and I'm like, yo, don't worry. I'm coming to New York. I'm coming. And we hit.
And you know what? And that's the beauty of it all because I actually been hitting you up constantly. Like, yo, whenever you come to New York, tell me. You know what I mean? And we finally got you here. And it was actually by surprise. You kind of hit me up out the blue. Like, yo, I'm here.
Look, I told you. And I was telling my wife, I'm like, look, we go up there. I got to do a pod. I said, I don't know what day he going to pick. I don't know what time he going to pick. But I'm going to be there. Like, we going to make it happen.
Okay, showing love.
All right, so let's get started. Let's first before we get to your business and everything, tell us how has living with albinism been for you?
Oh, a journey?
Please. Okay.
Go ahead, elaborate.
I'm going to
that,
be here
brother.
making jokes the whole time we here, just to let y'all know.
Say less.
It's been a journey. It's been a journey of not knowing that you're different, realizing you really different, then you realizing that everybody else started realizing that all of us are different, right? Just in life. So it's like a lot of self-reflection. I would always say I felt like I knew myself way earlier than my peers figured out themselves. And because I had to sit with myself at a younger age and be like, yo, who are you? What type of man you want to be? What type of black man you want to be? What type of like person with albinism you want to like? What person you want to be? And so it's been a journey. You know what I'm saying? I will say that probably since the 10th grade, my life has been very easy. I've been fortunate. Because I had a breakdown. I had a come to Jesus moment, if you would say, right? Like, I'm like, oh, it's getting real. Like, this is too much. And so when that happened for me when I was like 16, everything changed for me that day on. Like, and then I just looked at everything as far as like, all right, I know who I am. I know what type of man I'm going to be. And I just been chasing that. So feel free to cut me off whenever, because I do podcasts, so I will talk.
I mean, listen to your
But
thing.
be the hell out.
I did want to ask. You said that you figured out who you are and
That's
what
what I
you
was
want to
gonna
be
ask.
early on.
Mm-hmm.
Is that in association with the albinism? Do you feel like the albinism helped
Yeah.
bring out of you to understand who you are?
Yeah.
If so, explain.
All right, so I'll give you a little quick story. When I was in the 8th grade, and I remember this like it was yesterday, right? We talking about 8th grade, and me and this kid got into like a fight, but it wasn't like a real fight. You know when you in school and it's like the hold me back moment.
Yeah.
It was one of them joints. So
Yeah.
right, so but we got into it, and I remember I had a breakdown. I went home. My mom was like, "What's going on?" And I was like, "I have to prove myself to everybody because everybody assume who I am, right?" So sorry, they trying to make sure my mic right. Yeah, put me on the camera, man. Make sure we good.
slide
Y'all
over a
good. Y'all
little
good.
bit so we can get.
Y'all good.
Yeah,
All right, we can be
there
right
you
here.
go. That way you're fully in the shot.
There you go.
All right.
Cool. So like I had that moment in life, right? And I just having to explain to your parents, like, yo, it's real out here. It's different from what y'all went through because my parents don't have albinism, right? So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
different, like what I have to go through. Explaining to my dad, like as a black man, it's different. Like my life is vastly different from yours. And so going through that, and then just realizing, like, yo, do you want to be a follower or do you want to lead? Like, what you want to do? And I think that was the moment. That was the conversation my parents had with me. Like, what do you want to do in life? Like,
Now, when you figured out what you wanted to do with yourself, did your parents like support you in every way,
Absolutely.
shape, or form?
Look. Let me tell you this. I go to high school.
Yeah.
My mom is like, she's scared. My mom is scared.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
right?
That's
'Cause she's
females.
like,
Yeah.
she's like, it's gonna get real. Like
Yeah.
once you get there, right? And I told my mom, I said, I'm putting myself out there. Like if I get picked on, I'm gonna get picked on. I'm gonna be out.
Got to.
I'm gonna be out there. I'm like, I'm going to talk to people. I'm not gonna be the
That's it.
shy kid in the corner.
Right.
I made up my
Facts.
mind going into high school.
Right.
I am going to be loud.
That's
I'm gonna
a
be in the front.
fact.
And my mom was just like, hey, let's buckle up. Because this boy is telling us before he gets there, he's not about to be shy. I've never
like
been a
that.
shy kid.
I like that.
And it was a point in time, and it sucks to hear But like, there's a point in time in my life where my dad used to say, "You went into a shell," and I don't remember that time. Like, I know what he's talking about, but he was like, "You were so vibrant as a kid, as a little kid," and I just remember you going into a shell and like staying away and stop trying to be in the front and stop, you know.
Later on in life?
No, like apparently, like when I was like in elementary and middle school, I guess like the pressure, and I'm like, I know I'm getting picked on, I know I'm getting looked at different, so I'm going to protect myself and just be in the corner. And so my dad, he always tells that story, and it's so weird to hear because I didn't know I was doing that, but it was what I was doing, right? So when I got to high school, I told my parents, I am, for lack of a better word, I'm outside now. Like, we good.
Right.
And so they embraced it. They were happy. They was just like, let's get it. And so now when I'm on a podcast and I'm talking crazy, I'm being loud and just whatever, my mom and dad think it's the funniest thing ever. But I had that meeting. I'm telling you, it was a coming to Jesus meeting. I remember, and the reason why I point out the 8th grade, that day changed my life. And then when I was in the 10th grade, at the end of the year, life is cool, whatever, you know, you deal with high school stuff. Life is cool, and we get to a point where my parents pulled me out of public school. They put me in a private school because I'm cutting up, right? And so I'm in there, and I'm in a private school, and this guy is there. He's a preacher, and he just talking to everybody. And he came to me, and he said, people won't stop laughing at you, and they're going to start laughing with you. And he just walked off. And I'm just like, he said some other stuff. And it was weird because I'm like, I don't know this man. And I felt like that day he was speaking directly. Well, I mean, clearly he was speaking directly to me, but it meant so much.
Right.
And so we had that. And then I was somewhere else. And a lady who went to church with us, if you follow me, yes, I grew up in the church. Ignore the ignorance because I talk crazy. But anyway, we're there. And this lady comes up to me and she said, I know you're going through something. It's going to be okay. And she just left me alone. And I was just like, I was going through hell in life, right? And so those two things changed my life. After that, I was just like, man, it's whatever. Like, I can't be in a shell, so to speak.
So that brings me a good question that I want to ask Avery too.
Mm-hmm.
So for you, Avery, do you feel like having albinism made you understand yourself and who you are early on in life?
Oh yeah.
For your personal perspective.
And definitely, I think we all gotta go through something to figure out, is this meant for me, or am I doing too much? Am I not doing enough? You know what I'm saying? Like, late at night, still to today, I still catch myself thinking like, all right, I've gotten this far. This is where I've, come from, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where else can I go?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bro, it was real. Like, I mean, my teacher at that time, she called my parents. I'm talking about the 8th grade, and she was like, he is not himself. He going through it at school.
Yeah.
Like and then once you get older, you realize everybody is going through something, right?
Yeah. Right.
But yours is just so, it's so just like your physical appearance that everybody witnessed what you're going through. But once you get older, then you realize, like, me and my wife talk all the time. She talks about stuff she went through in school. Like, everybody that was talking trash, it's so funny. We went to a wedding, and me and my wife talking. We ran into the guy like last week, but we went to a wedding like 3 years ago. And the guy was there, and he came up to me at the end of the wedding and was like, bro, we used to go in on you in high school. And he was like, I'm so glad that you good. Like, you are good. And he was like, he told me, he said, I'm proud of you and who you are. And he was just a year older than me, and they used to go in. But it was just funny hearing that. And he was telling somebody else, he was like, yo, he could have not made it. We just like had fun with him, just picking at him going in. But it's like, but I tell everybody, like, I was the one. When everybody in the circle roasting somebody, I was in there roasting somebody too. I was there, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm having fun. I'm in the front of the camera, in the front of the class. I'm like, yo, you better. You know what I'm saying? And I know everybody's different, but for me, I made my mind up, like, nah, I'm on it. Like, I'm on it.
Yeah, and
Like
you know, I totally understand where you're coming from too. 'Cause that's how I had to be in school too. Like, at some point, you realize the jokes are gonna happen.
Yeah.
So you might as well pop the joke first.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, that was the
Absolutely.
mentality I had when I was like in high school and college. I was like, the jokes are gonna happen. There's no avoiding it. So you might as well pop it off.
You better
first.
learn it.
You know what I mean?
I learned the most actually at church growing up, because they used to go in too. But
Yeah.
it was like, when you grow up with people, especially about people that you are just so connected to around, like, I would see those kids 3 times a week, right? We went to church a lot. And so I'm going to see them all the time. But, the joke is, bro, they were like family. So they was just like, it was no different when I go see my cousins and my cousins to say something, right?
Right.
So
right.
I had to. We all knew jokes about each other. We all would crack jokes on each other all the time, and it was one of them things where older boys at church, they was like, yo, they would laugh if they would see how I was treated at school, because they'd be like, yo, we prepared him for this.
Yeah.
We did this. Like, this is how we grew up. Like, everybody crack. When I see my
tough
cousins,
love right there.
yeah, it was tough love at church, at school. I mean, at home, like, it was just like, so they'll see, when I got to high school, by that time, they were just like, he heard every joke.
Yeah.
He got jokes to say back. He teach you to be
And,
quick.
and you know, that's one thing that I try to teach.
Happy with it.
And you know, that's one thing I try to teach and tell people with albinism is that not everything that somebody says is meant to be offensive. Sometimes people are just joking. Sometimes people are just playing. Yeah. And having albinism, naturally, you are an easier target to joke.
Facts.
And that's all right. It's no different than anybody else. It's no different than a fat kid.
Yeah.
He's going to get joked on for being fat or being heavier than everyone else.
Everybody else, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I try to tell people with albinism, it's like, not everything is intended to be offensive. Sometimes your friends, your family will crack jokes on you just to be playful.
I was going to say majority of the time it's mostly females that's sensitive, but that's not true.
Yeah.
Guys are sensitive too.
Guys are, like, because it's tough. It's tough as a dude. I mean,
I only say it's tough for a dude, but I mean, I feel like it's tough for a female more.
Absolutely. Now, I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I haven't lived that life. None of us have, but I can say I really feel for the girl.
Emotional and stuff.
Yeah,
the females with albinism, they do have it harder because not only do they face the judgment and the jokes and the bullying that we all did, but then they also face the competition and the comparison to all the other girls.
Absolutely.
That's one thing guys don't really face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, I've never had nobody say to me, like, yo, you can't hoop with us because you got albinism. You can't come with us to the mall because I've never experienced that.
Right.
The ladies do. And that's, you know, women do that to each other, and I hate to say this, but they do it to each other, like, if you don't have albinism. Yeah. Yo, sis, you can't come with us to the mall. Yeah. You're not cute enough. No, we going on the girls' trip. You ain't allowed to go. Like, they will get
just
whatever.
Move funny.
Or move funny. But the dudes, it was never like, you can ball, you can ball. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? If you can pull chicks, you can pull chicks. It don't matter if you have it or not. So it was like, it's different. So I do feel for them because it's tough. But and you know, I was gonna say, I did an art project. I did a photography project, and I shot people with albinism. And so I had to go to Atlanta, and one of the boys I took pictures of, he's like 8. First of all, he looks just like me as an 8-year-old, so it was scary. Because I'm looking at him, I'm like, yo, you look too much like me as a child, right? And I asked him, I said, how's school? He said, it's all right. And his mom had already gave me the, like, yo, he going through it a little bit. So I told him, I said, look, it's going to get harder. I said, but everybody is getting picked on. Don't think they singling you out. Right. Everybody getting it.
Everybody gets
everybody.
And
he was
kids, short kids.
Yeah, the super tall kids.
The super tall kids.
Yeah, the girl who developed too early. Yes, the boy in my class who got it right after me the most, he was the darkest person in our class. Wow. You know what I'm saying? So it was like, they used to go in, they used to have fun with us.
And I want to say this too, and this may sound crazy. One thing I tell people all the time is being bullied is really not that bad.
Nah, it's not.
And I tell people this. I tell people it's actually good to be bullied in moderation. Yeah. Now, let me just be clear though. When I say bullied, right? Bullying is just people constantly making fun of you or teasing you. That's what bullying is, right? And that's what I'm referring to. Now, obviously, if the people are like beating you up every day and taking your lunch money every day and stealing your coat every day, then that's not where it's going to be helpful. But bullying in the sense that in the normal sense of bullying where you're getting picked on, you're getting teased, you're getting laughed at every day. That stuff is good, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because there's 2 things that it teaches you. It teaches you not everyone is gonna like you, not everyone is gonna treat you fair, and not everyone's gonna have a reason for not liking you.
You know what else it teaches you? People are able to tell you stuff raw, and they don't have to worry about your feelings. It propels you for that. You don't like
that's a fact.
Building thick skin,
bro. It builds it. You get to work, and I've noticed my bosses not have to sugarcoat stuff to me. They just like, yo, let's just give it to them because I'm like, you can say whatever you got to say. I've heard worse. I've experienced worse. So you telling me this is wrong or this is not how you approach things? I'm just like, cool, bet. Let's fix it.
Right.
Versus other people, even in growing up, my parents didn't have to sugarcoat stuff with me. My mom used to always, shout out to my mom. Shout out to, she gonna watch
Shout out,
this for
moms.
sure. My mom used to always say, you will never hear something outside of this house that you've never heard in this house. Bro, I will put something on my mom like, they don't go good with your skin. Take it off. She used to
Right.
always do that.
Right.
Like, she'd be good for it. She'd be like, nope, this don't look good. You too light for this. Like, but my
Right.
mom was
Yeah,
preparing me,
yeah.
right?
My mom was like that too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you went out the house looking crazy, not
would-
dressed the
yeah.
right way,
Yeah.
she would tell you.
Bro, I couldn't
would
wear
tell.
black until I was like in high school.
What's that
What?
got to do with it?
My mom did not. She was like, it's too dark. She was just like, but that was just my mom. We had that relationship. She was like, I did not. And when I say black, I'm talking about a black suit because we used to go to church all the time.
Right.
So she'd be like, nope. And like one time I remember, I might have been in college. I was going somewhere and I was like, I never owned a black suit. And I bought it. And then my dad, he said, why are you saying that? I'm like, you ain't never knows mine never bought me no black suit. She said I was too light for it. And my dad was just like shaking his head. But it's funny, but that's how my mom was. If a color didn't look good on me,
Yeah.
she would just say no.
No.
And now
Okay.
I had to learn that, my mom fashion sense wasn't the greatest. I had
Yeah.
to realize that. You have to learn that. But that's just that's just life, right? So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I noticed it gives you thick skin.
Yeah, it does. It does. And what's your thoughts on that, Avery, in terms of like albinism giving you thick skin?
It has to be, but I mean, I feel like that's just life in general. Like I said, like that's everyone goes through that. It
Mhm.
don't matter what kind of shade you are.
But
what
you
your
would agree that we
ethnicity.
go through it more. Like
I'm not gonna say more, but I'm just saying I feel like I mean, maybe some more than others, but
For sure.
everyone has to go through it.
Right,
And when
right,
I
right,
say,
right.
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, bullying, it's like there's no certain limit to it, and it's
Right.
it's what I
Anybody
feel
can be
like
bullied for
bullying
anything.
is whatever you allow it to be.
Facts.
You get what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is if you let it break you down, that's what it's gonna be. You know what I'm saying? If you feel like, oh his words was way harsher than their words were, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It's like, yo, you just gotta toughen up and handle it.
And you know
for
what?
real.
I think
like,
that's really important. Because
Yeah.
what you're saying, Avery, is like, regardless if you have albinism or not, everybody gets bullied for something. It's
Something.
what you're saying is it's all about how you internalize, it,
Yeah,
how you
yeah.
take it at the end.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what really matters. And that's why I say, man, believe it or not, man, getting bullied is actually very helpful because it's important for kids and everybody to know not everybody's gonna like you.
Yeah.
Not everybody's gonna treat you fair.
Bro.
Not everybody's gonna have a reason not to like you.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
It's okay.
You know,
Yeah.
that is fine. You don't like me, you think whatever, who cares?
Yeah,
Like
facts.
Life goes
you know,
on.
It does.
and like Avery said,
Real.
it's all about how you take it. So you can get bullied and then you can go home and cry about it every day. Or you can get bullied and you can go home and say, you know what, I'm not gonna care what these people think.
yeah.
You know, and that's
Facts.
the best way to really go about it. Is
Yeah.
it teaches you not to care what other
Yeah.
people say, what
Yeah.
other
Mhm.
people think.
Because
Man.
whether you're doing good or not, somebody gonna judge you.
Bro.
If you're making too much money, I'm like,
Facts.
nah, he think he all that.
Yeah.
Right.
If you don't make enough, nah, he
Bro,
poor. I
the
don't-
prettiest
you
girl
know
in
what I
school
mean?
get picked on. You
Exactly.
gotta think about that. You know,
Exactly.
it's tough for them too. You know, it's tough for everybody, but yeah, it's like, what
Right.
you gonna do?
Right.
What are
Right.
you
Just-
going to do?
Yeah.
And it's
Right.
okay.
So now I also want to talk about your business. So
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
tell us
shout
about
out.
the business that you got going on. I believe you. I know you have a podcast, but do you have
Yeah.
any other businesses going on?
Yeah.
Speak
So
about.
I have a podcast. It's called the Black Dads Club.
Hey.
Shout out to my homeboy Mike, also known as Pastor Mike. He's
What's
not
up,
really
Mike?
a pastor, by the way, but he always preach on the behalf of black men, so he calls himself a pastor,
Okay.
which is hilarious because people will cuss him out.
For holding
And they
that
be
title.
like, yeah, well, they'll fuss at him, be like, how can you think like this? You're a pastor, and they'll hold on to it. But it's cool. So I do that, which is super dope. We started once I had my son, which was amazing in itself because I was gonna quit the podcast with him because I was done. It wasn't going nowhere. Nobody was watching. Nobody was checking it out. And then I had my kid, and I came back home. I came back on a podcast like 2 months later, just like spilling. As much as I'm talking here today,
Yeah.
I was talking that day because I was just like, I'm going through everything, right?
Yeah.
Do the podcast. So many people watched it, paid attention. At the end of recording, before we even posted, he said, yo, this is our podcast from here on out. We're talking about being a dad, which is hilarious now because we don't even focus on dad topics. What we mostly focus on is topics that men go through that and we just two dads talking about it, so it's cool. But besides that, I am actually a full-time photographer. That's what I do every day.
Really? And
Yes.
you okay. And do you also do videography or just
No, I only record my pod. That's the only thing I do.
Okay.
And I hate when people will come up, they hit me up. I need video, and I'm like, I cannot help you. I cannot. It's a different skill set, same equipment for the most part, but like, now I take pictures. Mostly, I do maternity, weddings, and engagement.
Okay.
That's what I do.
And how's that been for you?
Bro, it's been cool. I've been doing it since I was 18.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm 35 now. So almost half of my life, which is scary to think about. But I started when honestly, I started in college to holler at girls. It was like the easiest thing.
There you go.
Cause you're a photographer. And
Well,
this,
you just walk up to a girl and be like, I'm a photographer. Let me take your picture.
well, so what happened was this is when
Something
Facebook
wrong.
is like taking off,
Oh yeah.
and like
Okay.
I'm like everybody needs profile pictures. So I'm the guy with the camera, and then so it was like
Oh, that's
girls will
kinda-
always hit
that's
me up
smart.
like, oh, whatever. And so I don't hit on my clients. I married one of them, but that's not that's
Oh wow!
There you go. There you
So
go.
you met your wife.
So I met her at
doing
work.
this.
Yeah, I met her. We actually met at work, and then but it was funny because she hired me for her graduation photos, and we started hanging out. It didn't,
That's
And
dope.
so but I was doing that in college. Like that was something just mad cool to do. Like I was able to do that, and then probably the year after we got married, 1 year. Actually, I was in New York. That's the craziest part. I'm in New York. We got married on the 3rd, or the 4th. I can't remember. And on the 1st of November, I'm here at the Jacob Javits Center, going to a photo conference, and I got fired on the steps.
Wow.
Wait, you got fired for fired
Because I
from
was
what
doing
job?
marketing full time. That's what I went to school for, and everything. So I'm gonna have a marketing job. I'm a marketing manager, and my boss, he did not like me. And
So he fired you
Bro.
for promoting your photography business at the
no.
Jacob Javits.
So no, what happened was I came to New York for a photo conference.
Uh-huh.
That was all I came for.
Yeah.
And so I had been working there for I might have lasted like 2 months at that job. But anyway, I'm at the Jacob Javits Center. I'm walking in. I get a phone call. I'm like, don't know the number. I don't recognize it. And so he called me. He was like, where are you at? And I'm like, I'm in New York. I told you I was going to a conference, blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah. So this is not going to work anymore. So I got fired. And I was just like, yo, what the hell am I going to do? And so I called her. Call my wife. I'm like, yo, I just got fired. And we supposed to be celebrating our 1 year anniversary in like 2 or 3 days. And she was just like, if you don't want to fill out your resume again, you better go in there and learn everything you want to learn so you could do this for, that's all you got to do. And that's what I've been doing. So I probably maybe like 6-7 years been doing it full time. But as my only source of income, that's been 4 years, almost 5 years now. So it's been dope. It's been tough. It's rough. COVID was rough, but once I made it through COVID, I was like, oh, I can do
do
this.
anything.
Yeah, doing that as an
So-
entrepreneur.
So tell the people, where can they find your podcast? Where can they find your photography stuff? Where can they book you? Where can they watch?
Look up gavinbower.com. You'll find everything there. And you look up anywhere you can find a podcast, look up the Black Dads Club. It's cool. It's a good podcast, if I must say so myself. We don't kick black men's back in. I would say that. That's what we don't do.
That's good.
Come in there
That's
for that.
good.
You're going to miss it.
Okay, and then lastly, I think there was a topic you wanted to touch on. You stated something about like your vision making it harder for you to be an entrepreneur, or
So-
did I misconstrue that?
Yeah, so me and you had a conversation. I'll give a little backstory. Me and you was having a conversation. You was like, oh, I want to talk about this, about your business. And I was like, yeah. And so after I get done talking to you, I'm talking to my wife. I'm like, yo, it's kind of crazy. Like, I feel blessed because people like us, we have skin issues, vision issues, right?
Yeah.
And it's tougher on us. That's one of the things that affects us, right? And so I was just feeling like, dang, I'm really blessed that I'm able to be a photographer because I have to use my eyes. Like, if you take a blurry photo, that's not, people are trying to make it a style now in photography. It's not taken off the ground just yet. But it's like, nobody is hiring you to take blurry photos or
Yeah.
out of focus. And I pride myself because my photos are always sharp. They always on point. I'm patting myself on the back here, but they always on point. And so, like, I really am just grateful for that because, it would be tough, if something happened my vision and not being able to do what I love every day.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was all just like super grateful for it though.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
yeah.
that's super dope, man. I really enjoy your podcast too. I do watch it
Appreciate
from
you.
time to time, And I like the fact that y'all say some things that are just so raw that I'm like, yo, nobody would admit that.
Yeah.
Like, you guys speak about the importance of being married before having a kid.
Yeah.
And a lot of people won't admit
bro.
how beneficial that is.
I've lost friends over that statement.
That's crazy.
Really?
Yeah, like people when I'm gonna put it like this. When she got pregnant and once we had the baby, I was like, I don't know how single moms do this. I just don't. Like I just don't. It's two of us. And one day her mom came over and she said, "Have y'all showered today? Have y'all ate?" And we was just like, and this is like in the first week. We delusional.
Yeah,
and
like, first week you get only 2 hours of sleep.
Bro, like, and so I'm like, I don't know. She was like, how about y'all be good? Y'all go do whatever. I'm gonna watch the baby right here. And y'all, me and her, we went and took a shower. We got right back in the bed. We didn't even eat. We was like, bump this. We going to sleep, right? And so only thing I can think of is like, how do people do this? Like as a single mom. And so, you know, one thing, our generation has messed up co-parenting so much that we think that's like a great option, and that's like a hard option to achieve, like co-parenting. And I don't think people understand that's co-parenting is harder than being married and raising a kid. Like, and most people don't know that because what they think is, oh, you want what's best for the kid, I want what's best for the kid, so we'll be good. No. Everybody petty when they fighting, right? Everybody wants something different. You know, if I'm paying you child support, I can't control what you do with the money. I can say what it should go for, but it doesn't matter. Once it hits your account, who am I? You know what I'm saying? And for me, like, even for men, I look at men like it's so expensive for a man to have a baby out of wedlock. It's like, what is the benefit of it? That's why I always ask people, like, what is the benefit? You give me the one. The ladies have a lot of benefits, and you know, me and Mike, we stopped speaking to the ladies about it because there's benefits for them. They, at minimum, they get government assistance, and you know, it's subsidized for them, right? But for a guy, I'm like, what is the benefit? Like, my co-host is divorced. He was married, he had a kid, they got a divorce. So he always looks and he goes, bro, I'm paying 2 rents. He's like, this is stupid. He's like, if I was still married, I would be paying 1 rent. Like, just think about that.
Right.
You got to pay your rent, and then you giving her money for hers. Like, you paying for food in her house. How the hell am I about to pay for stuff in your house and I'm not there? It's because my child is there. And as a man, you should be doing that. But, like, if I didn't have the option, I would not. Like, it's tough. You know what I'm saying? And so if you are a single parent, that's, like, more praise to you because, boy, we trying to potty train now, and we in the trenches. Like, we in the trenches for real.
So give them your website one more time before we close out. So
GavinBoware.com. Just
spell that, man.
Gavin. Well, y'all can put my name in the credits, right?
Okay. Yeah, we will. We gonna tag you, but please, but still spell it out. Look, you know.
Look, GavinBoware.com is last name is Boware, BOULWARE, or just look up _Gavin B on socials. I'm everywhere. Like, just look me up, and please say what's up. And look, before we close, congratulations to y'all. Like, for real, this is dope. I've met so many people. People have followed me. Just watching this has been dope because I don't think we always talk about on our pod as having dad communities, and y'all have built a community here, and I don't think y'all understand how important that is. And keep doing it. Like, I tell everybody that does podcasts and building communities, build this community, and when it gets tough, just do it one more time. Just keep going because you never know who life you're changing. Like, I didn't think about, when I had to do my project, I was trying to shoot something else. And then I started, I shot a guy. He was the first person I saw with albinism, and his daughter went to school, and she kept calling me dad. And I was like, why you keep calling me that? She was like, oh, you look like my dad. And I was like, what? And I didn't get it until he came to school, and everybody was like, yo, your dad is in the cafeteria. I'm like, no, he ain't. Like, why would my dad be here? You know what I'm saying? And I saw this man, and so anyway, I shot him for my project, and he said, yo, y'all now have communities. He said, when I was growing up in the 70s, he grew up in Brooklyn. That was the funny part. He said, when I grew up in the 70s in Brooklyn, there was no community for people with albinism. And he was like, just imagine my life in the crack era having albinism. He was like, bro, it was rough. And so, so I say that, congratulations, y'all. Thank y'all for having me here because this is dope. And keep pushing. Please keep pushing.
you.
If y'all ever about to quit, hit me up and I'm gonna make you do one more episode.
We ain't got to worry about that. But yeah.
All right, another amazing episode of Life with Albinism podcast. Everybody, y'all can go to lifewithalbinism.com to check out all of our new content, all of our new merch that we have for sale, anything that we got going on, and make sure you subscribe to the YouTube and check out all the episodes.
Yes, sir. We out of here.
Good stuff, man. Yeah, if you